Becoming a plumber has helped in my personal life as well, becoming a man. From that point, I was comfortable enough to start my own business, Coverall Plumbing. My mother said to me, hey, we can obviously see that you're not enjoying school. Would you like to be a plumber? Legally, you have to finish year 9 and then can actually leave school, enter an apprenticeship full-time. Water. It was flooding her floor and going everywhere, creating damage. You learn to breathe with your mouth. Basically put some gloves on and get some poo out of a toilet with a lot of toilet paper. So advanced water, advanced drainage and advanced gas works to get your license. The government's funding a license because they want a lot more plumbers. All the plumbers could be designing houses in factories and then actually drop shipping them into place.
Hey there, just a quick shout out to all the listeners of Inside the Real Job. Firstly, a huge thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the follow button to help us reach more ears and bring in amazing guests to share their journeys. And if any of you or someone you know is eager to talk about their profession or promote their industry, shoot me an email. You can find my contact details in the episode description. All right, let's get on with it. Enjoy this episode. Lockie, what's your definition of a plumber?
The definition of a plumber is to be able to provide a water, gas and a drainage qualified service for a client that's in need.
And how do you become a plumber? Is there different paths or is it like normal trade? You just do a 4-year apprenticeship?
Yes, so you sign up with a company and then you start your apprenticeship at TAFE. So you do 3 years at TAFE and then you become a journeyman's plumber. And then from there you can do your advanced course to get your license. But what they require is 6 years of on-site works prior to getting your license. What you can do, or some bosses do, they can fast track people and sign them off quicker. It just varies on the company and your circumstances. Yeah.
And when you say the 3 years at TAFE, is that full-time TAFE or is that like practical, like you go once a week?
You go once a week and you do theory and practical. You're required to do tests and then you can move further.
Can we break that down? What's a first year apprentice mainly do compared to a third year apprentice?
Sure, so it starts off, you do work health and safety. So you do that for a couple of months and then you progress to water. So you do that the first year. So you just do everything relating waterworks. And then you go to drainage. So then you do sewer, stormwater drainage on the second year. And then your third year you do gas. So it goes through a process and you have to complete all of them and pass them to be able to get onto the next stage at TAFE. So it all goes through theory and practical.
And then you said the 4th year...
You do your advanced course to get your license. So that's actually advanced everything. So advanced water, advanced drainage and advanced gas works. And then at the end you do a business course. And that you can either do a day course or you can do night courses, which a lot of plumbers are doing because if you do a day course, you have to miss a day of work and then employers don't pay for that.
Okay. So is that business part more for yourself or you still have to do that as part of...
It's part of the course.
Okay,
yes,
right.
For your advanced. It's only a month or two, but they teach you business side as well. So you start your own business one day.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay, and then you do the business and then does that mean you're a full-fledged plumber?
Yes, so you get that if you've continuously progressed. So you've done first, second, third, and then your 4th for your advanced course. Then it's up to your boss to either fast track you or you do the 6 years of practical. So that's on-site work throughout your apprenticeship and then you get signed off.
Right. It's a long journey when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And how do you get it fast tracked?
It varies on different factors on what both parties want to do. But normally you just do the 6 years. It depends on from finishing your 3rd year to become a journeyman's plumber, if you jump straight into getting your license, or like some people delay it a little bit and then they go for their licensing. So it varies on time frame, what path you've gone through. If you want to get it done quickly or life gets in the way and you can't do the advanced course, and then you do that at a later stage.
Okay, so you can finish your 4 years, work for someone.
Yes.
But then you probably can't start anything yourself if you wanted to until you finish the other 2 years of advance.
Yeah, so you can't do a job and sign off on it because you're not licensed, but you can work for someone, and you can actually work by yourself underneath someone. So as you're an apprentice, you can't work by yourself, but if you do have someone that is a journeyman's plumber, they can supervise you.
And can you give us an example of what's advanced? Because we've used that term a couple of times now.
Sure. So an advanced plumber can do larger scale jobs, more technical and more rules and regulations we have to abide by and follow through. So it gives us more of an advantage for harder job, do it large scale.
And how do you become an apprentice?
Legally, you have to finish year 9 and then be into year 10. Then you can actually leave school. But you have to enter an apprenticeship full-time with an employee and then stay there. But you can do a in-school apprenticeship, which doesn't happen regularly, but you can do some days at school and then you can do some work outside as well, which the school allows. Varies on the circumstances. But a full-time apprenticeship, you get signed off to leave school, but you have to be 15 years old.
And you can only leave if you've obtained a full-time apprenticeship.
Yes.
Yeah. And you mentioned doing some of it in school as well. Do you know if I did it in year 10 and I did 2 years of at school / on site, after high school, does that advance my apprenticeship? Am I already finished my first year?
No, I don't think it actually counts because you're only doing a certain time frame and you're actually not going to TAFE. You have all the work experience, but your actual apprenticeship starts when you sign up for TAFE full-time.
Okay. So from a person thinking about it, it's easier. If you know you want to be a plumber, then you might want to leave at 15, 16.
Yes.
But if you're unsure, you could test it out during school in a way.
Absolutely. You can do multiple trades. So you can go do building, electrical, plumbing. Definitely it's good to get a feel for what you like because some people might not like certain aspects of plumbing. And then some people might like to do carpentry. I believe that every trade has got their own sets of skills required and something that you personally like and enjoy. So it's all on your preference.
It makes sense for people that are unsure, but they know what they want to do a trade to maybe do that through school. As we said before, 4 years, or in plumbing's terms, 6 years is a big commitment.
Yes, absolutely. But definitely, I think that anyone that doesn't feel comfortable in the school atmosphere, then definitely try it.
That makes sense. What's a day in the life of a plumber?
For myself, it's up nice and early in the morning. It'll be an early morning riser. It varies on what sort of works you're doing. It's either you're doing maintenance, so you have a couple of jobs throughout the day, or if you're in construction, you'd be on one site for a month or 2 months. It varies. So you can either be in the truck for most of the day, going job to job, or you'll be on one job site for the day. That's basically... It varies on the business that you join, if they're more on the maintenance or construction or commercial side. Yeah.
And is there a lot of overtime? I know a lot of tradies at times, depending on the job, do a lot of weekend work.
Yes, absolutely. It depends. So if you're doing maintenance and you get a call at 3:30 emergency job, block sewer or burst water pipe, you got to attend, help the client, and then just leave until it's done. So if you have commitments as in sports, sometimes it affects it.
That's good to know. And what about keeping up your skills? Is there things that you have to do yearly to keep your license?
Once you qualified, no actual after hours study, but if you did want to really invest your time and learn the skill and learn all the rules as required by Australian standards, you can absolutely study more at home. But I believe that plumbers were problem solvers. You really learn everything on the job. Every day we're learning. It's never the same thing.
Yeah, great. And when you say problem solving, is that one of the challenges or one of the fun stuff about being a plumber?
Every job, there's a certain way that you've got to approach it. It's experience too, because if you got a water leak somewhere, different plumbers will have different strategies in fixing a problem. However you approach it, sometimes you learn from the job and then you actually remember and utilize that on another job. So it's all on problem solving skills to then be able to fix a problem in certain ways and to get a job done correctly. Other challenges is calculating heights for stormwater drainage, sewer pipe work, running even water points. Like if you're doing a new house or renovation and you got to move certain fixtures, just the certain works required to get the water point or the drainage there. There's always something that's going to happen or you need to get past. So it's just even the basics, just little challenges that occur. It's always different. Whilst you're starting excavation works down to a damaged sewer or water, you actually come across different lines, as in a gas line or a stormwater line that you couldn't see underneath the ground. So what you have to do is use your skills in regards to relocation of the pipework to ensure that it works correctly. But even if you have to move other lines, as an example, I need to cut out a water line to be able to complete your works and then reconnect it after. So the different challenges is, whilst starting a job, quite a few other jobs occur whilst trying to complete one job.
That makes sense, because you don't know what you can see until you dig up the hole.
Yeah, and then you find a treasure chest, a lot going on underneath the ground.
Okay. What aspects is fulfilling?
Making the client satisfied. It's all about that. We only get called, obviously, if there's something wrong. So the whole satisfaction of attending site and even meeting with the client and fixing the problem for the client and making sure that they're happy.
Do you have a success story?
Client last week, there was a water leak and she had to turn the water off. Not having water for the whole night, even a day, it really affects people. Being able to excavate, dig it up, remove the damaged section of pipework and replace it with new, turning on the water, even that's a grateful thing, because she came out and said, "Thank you so much, I have water."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely don't realise how important water is until it stops.
Exactly, yes.
And I guess the other thing is, well, you mentioned before, where you might have to come at 3 o'clock in the morning because someone has a blocked sewage, which is quite different to if someone had no power. They could survive a whole night without power.
Yes.
Where water
exactly.
is very different.
Yes, absolutely. I have actually received a call, I think it was about 11 o'clock at night, to someone yelling, going, "There's water coming out of the vanity." Like,
wow.
There's water. It was flooding her floor and going everywhere, creating damage. And I'm half asleep and I've answered, I've gone, "Oh, there should be an isolation valve underneath the sink, try and find it." And she found it, and then she actually ended the call, and then the next morning she said, "Thank you so much." Even that little thing helps.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice. What are the things that people might not expect to experience as a plumber?
If you like being outdoors, all the works that we do is outdoors, and we go in and out of places, and we're always moving around. So we're not actually located in one place. We're moving around, we're talking to people, we're completing jobs, we're out and about. Physical strength is actually a big factor, because every day you're either crawling underneath a house or you're digging, excavating, concrete cutting, jackhammering, many different factors. But especially for a plumber, if we are dealing with a sewer, as a sewer blockage, some people can't cope with seeing everything, feces, but it's something that you got to overcome and slowly progress.
Do you get over it over time?
You learn to breathe with your mouth, so you don't really get as disgusted.
How long did it take you to get to that point?
Well, our story, when I started, I was about a month in, and I was told we have to basically put some gloves on and get some poo out of a toilet with a lot of toilet paper. So that was a learning curve, because I was obviously young and I was breathing through my nose, and I remember my old boss saying, "Hey, no, don't breathe through your mouth because you'll smell it." And I'm about to vomit. But that was the first thing I realised, wow, like plumbers actually do this stuff. Like, it's pretty disgusting, but that's what we're required to do. Over time, you get used to it. Now it's just something, it's just second nature.
Right. Well, that's an additional skill you learn, to breathe through your mouth.
Yeah.
It's not that easy when you try to tell someone to do it.
Exactly, yes. Something as well as a plumber is that I thought once I started that I'd be finishing at 3 o'clock, but what you got to realise is we actually work a lot of overtime. So a lot of hours early in the morning to late at night. So sometimes you're leaving when it's dark and coming home when it's dark. It just varies on how the day goes, and that can always be a big factor being a part of a plumber. So a water leak underneath the concrete slab or something, you need to excavate it, fix it, because you've got the water off. If you have a family with children, you need to ensure that the water gets back on as soon as possible.
And are there any Like we mentioned the different stages of your apprenticeship. If I recall, first year is the water, second is sewage and drainage, third is gas.
Yes.
Can you specialise in any of those and just do that in your plumbing career?
Yeah, so you're required to go through the procedures of first year, second year, third year, and then advanced course, but there are certain jobs that you need certain qualifications for. So you need to actually re-attend TAFE or do a certain course to be able to get these qualifications and certain certificates, and then you can specialise in certain jobs. So that is definitely something that you can do. It just varies on the job and what type of way you want to go. And in addition to plumbing works, what you can actually do is join Gemina or Sydney Water. So Sydney Water obviously specialise in water, main sewer lines of towns and everything like that. Gemina, who just specialise in gas. So it just varies on your preference.
And they just do obviously the
large scale. Obviously, as an old plumber, you look at a house and you figure out their sewer and where it's all running to. And then Sydney Water, they on a large scale, so they're the whole street or they're the whole suburb, and they figure out that.
Okay. And what does salary look like from a range, like first year apprentice to fully licensed?
It probably ranges as a first year between $40,000-$50,000, and then each year would probably go up $5,000-$10,000 until you're a qualified plumber. And it varies between different companies, but then there are certain companies that would probably do a commission based. It just depends on what type of company they are. So they can obviously fluctuate in price range. And then if you obviously wanted to go to the further extent and start your own business, it depends on the work basis you get and how much you can grow.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yes.
And when you say commission, are you referring to bonuses?
Yes, bonuses in regards for how many jobs you'll complete or how complex the job is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed my chat with Lockie, an experienced plumber. Lockie gave us a real look at the challenges and rewards the plumber would face each day. It's not an easy path. Training covers everything from water to sewage to gas, and you need advanced skills before getting your license. Lockie highlighted how physical and hands-on the job can be. Great for anyone who likes being active and working outdoors. Every day brings a new sight and a fresh challenge. It's tough but rewarding career, perfect for those that stay committed. If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned as Lockie shares his personal journey and best tips for future plumbers. Thanks for listening, and remember, make today a good news day.